Money. It builds skylines, funds empires, and turns ordinary cities into magnets that pull the ambitions of entire generations toward them. This is a guide to the 28 wealthiest cities on Earth, what made them rich, what keeps them rich, and what that wealth actually looks like when you walk their streets. New York City, USA. New York City is the financial capital of the world, and it has held that title with a tenacity that periodic crises, recessions, terrorist attacks, and pandemics have tested but never broken. The city's GDP, if it were a country, would rank among the top 15 economies on Earth. Wall Street is not merely a street, but a global system. The New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq together representing a combined market capitalization that exceeds the GDP of every nation on Earth except the United States itself. The city is home to more billionaires than any other city in the world, a concentration of extreme wealth that coexists with some of the most expensive real estate on Earth and one of the developed world's most significant poverty gaps. Manhattan alone generates more economic output per square kilometer than almost any other piece of land in human history. The financial services sector is the engine, but it is surrounded and supported by the world's most valuable media industry, the most commercially significant fashion and advertising markets, the most attended arts and cultural institutions on Earth, and a tech sector that has grown to rival Silicon Valley in both scale and ambition. New York does not merely have money. It is, in a very fundamental sense, the place where money decides what it means. Tokyo, Japan. Tokyo is the largest metropolitan economy on Earth, a fact that tends to surprise people who think of the city primarily in terms of culture, technology, and food, rather than raw financial muscle. The Greater Tokyo metropolitan area generates a GDP comparable to the entire economy of Canada, a number that becomes less abstract when you consider that this output is produced by a single urban agglomeration, a continuous fabric of city that extends in every direction from the Imperial Palace for dozens of kilometers. Japan's corporate giants, from Toyota to Sony to Mitsubishi to SoftBank, are headquartered here or maintain their primary financial operations in the city. The Tokyo Stock Exchange is one of the largest in the world. The real estate market in central Tokyo, particularly in districts like Minato, Chiyoda, and Shibuya, operates at price levels that place it among the most expensive in Asia. The city's wealth is expressed not in ostentatious display, but in the extraordinary quality of its infrastructure, its public services, its food culture, and the quiet, pervasive efficiency of daily life at every level of society. London, UK. London is the city that invented modern finance, and while it has ceded some of its historical dominance to New York over the past century, it remains the world's most internationally connected financial center by many measures. The City of London, that ancient square mile at the heart of the metropolis that operates under its own distinct governance and has done so since medieval times, generates a disproportionate fraction of global financial activity, currency trading, insurance through Lloyd's, commodity markets, international banking, and legal and professional services that underpin transactions happening on every continent. London's wealth is also its diversity. The city attracts capital and talent from every corner of the world with an openness that has been its defining characteristic since it became the center of a global trading empire. Mayfair and Knightsbridge represent one end of the wealth spectrum, streets where Russian oligarchs, Gulf royalty, and tech billionaires have parked fortunes in property. The Canary Wharf Financial District represents another, glass towers housing the European headquarters of American banks alongside homegrown institutions that between them move trillions of dollars daily. Shanghai, China. Shanghai has undergone a transformation in the past 4 decades that has no real parallel in urban economic history. In 1990, the Pudong district across the Huangpu River from the historic Bund was largely agricultural land. Today it is one of the most dramatic skylines on Earth, a forest of towers, including the Shanghai Tower, the second tallest building in the world, housing the financial and corporate infrastructure of China's most commercially dynamic city. Shanghai is China's financial capital, its primary port, its fashion and design center, and increasingly its technology hub. The city's GDP places it among the top 10 city economies in the world, a position it reached within a single generation through a combination of state direction, foreign investment, and the entrepreneurial energy of its population. The Luxiazui financial district in Pudong, viewed from the Bund across the river at night, is one of the most dramatic illustrations of rapid wealth accumulation in human history. A skyline that did not exist 30 years ago, now representing one of the world's most significant concentrations of financial infrastructure. Los Angeles, USA. Los Angeles is the entertainment capital of the world, and entertainment, it turns out, is one of the most lucrative industries in human history. Hollywood generates not merely film and television revenue, but a global ecosystem of intellectual property, licensing, merchandising, and cultural influence that makes the city's economic footprint far larger than its direct industry output suggests. But Los Angeles is more than Hollywood. It is home to the busiest port complex in the Western Hemisphere, the twin ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, handling a significant fraction of all goods entering the United States. It is the second largest technology hub in America after the San Francisco Bay Area. It has a manufacturing sector, a garment industry, an aerospace heritage, and an art market second only to New York in global significance. The concentration of ultra-high net worth individuals in neighborhoods like Bel Air, Beverly Hills, Brentwood, and Malibu represents one of the densest accumulations of personal wealth in the world, expressed in real estate, art collections, and a luxury service economy that employs hundreds of thousands. Chicago, USA. Chicago is the city that built the American economy. Its position at the center of the continent, connecting the agricultural heartland to the Great Lakes and through them to the Atlantic, made it the natural hub of the railroad network that industrialized America, the commodity markets that priced the world's grain and livestock, and the manufacturing industries that turned raw materials into finished goods at a scale previously unimagined. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the Chicago Board of Trade remain the most important commodity and derivatives exchanges in the world, a fact that gives Chicago a financial significance disproportionate to its profile in popular culture. The city's GDP places it among the top 20 city economies in the world. Its corporate roster includes Boeing, McDonald's, Kraft Heinz, United Airlines, and dozens of other global companies whose headquarters anchor a downtown of extraordinary architectural distinction. The city where the skyscraper was invented and where the tradition of ambitious, innovative building has never fully stopped. Paris, France. Paris is the city where luxury became an industry, and that industry is now one of the most profitable on earth. The French capital is home to LVMH, the world's largest luxury goods conglomerate, and to Kering, Hermes, L'Oreal, and a constellation of smaller luxury houses whose collective output defines global taste in fashion, cosmetics, jewelry, and lifestyle. The luxury sector is not merely culturally dominant in Paris, it is economically foundational, employing hundreds of thousands of people across manufacturing, retail, hospitality, and the creative professions, and generating export revenues that make France one of the world's leading economic powers, despite its relatively modest size. Paris is also a major financial center in its own right, home to the headquarters of BNP Paribas, AXA, Société Générale, and Total Energies, among others. The city's real estate market, particularly in the arrondissements surrounding the Seine and in the grands boulevards of the West, operates at price levels that reflect the concentration of European wealth that Paris has historically attracted and retained. Singapore is the most remarkable economic achievement of the 20th century, a city-state with no natural resources, no hinterland, and no obvious geographical advantage, beyond its position at the tip of the Malay Peninsula on one of the world's most important shipping lanes, that transformed itself within a single generation from a colonial backwater into one of the wealthiest places on Earth by any per capita measure. The strategy was deliberate, sustained, and sometimes brutal in its enforcement. Rule of law, zero tolerance for corruption, aggressive investment in education and infrastructure, strategic openness to foreign capital and talent, and a port and financial services sector developed with the explicit intention of making Singapore indispensable to regional and global commerce. It worked with a thoroughness that continues to astonish. Singapore's per capita GDP is among the highest in the world. Its port is one of the busiest on Earth. Its financial sector manages wealth from across Southeast Asia and beyond. And its physical environment, its clean streets, reliable infrastructure, and extraordinary food culture reflects a standard of public investment that the city's wealth makes possible, and that its government has chosen to deploy in ways that benefit the entire population. Hong Kong, China. Hong Kong's status as a global financial center was built over a century and a half of British colonial administration that made it the primary gateway between China and the Western world, a function it retained and expanded after the handover to China in 1997. Its position as a low-tax, rule-of-law jurisdiction with a freely convertible currency and a sophisticated legal system based on English common law made it uniquely valuable as a conduit for investment into and out of mainland China. The city's stock exchange is one of the largest in Asia. Its real estate market is one of the most expensive on Earth, a product of extreme land scarcity on a mountainous territory with a dense population and consistent demand from mainland Chinese buyers. The political changes following the 2019 protests and the implementation of the national security law have altered Hong Kong's position in ways that financial markets continue to assess, with some international capital and talent moving to Singapore and other regional centers. Its fundamental geographic and financial infrastructure advantages remain, and its role as a wealth hub is diminished, but not erased. Beijing, China. Beijing is China's political capital, and in a state-directed economy, political capital and financial capital are not as separable as they might be in other systems. The decisions made within the government buildings of Zhongnanhai and the ministries surrounding them shape the flow of capital across the world's second-largest economy, and the corporate giants headquartered in Beijing, including many of China's largest state-owned enterprises and technology companies, exist in a relationship with political power that makes the city's wealth and its governance deeply intertwined. Beijing is home to more billionaires than any city except New York and Moscow in some annual rankings, a concentration of extreme wealth that reflects both the extraordinary growth of the Chinese economy and the particular advantages that proximity to political power confers in the Chinese system. The technology sector, centered on the Zhongguancun district that has been called China's Silicon Valley, has added a layer of new economy wealth to an already formidable concentration of state and corporate capital. Dubai, UAE. Dubai is the most audacious act of city building in modern history, a trading post in the desert that decided, several decades ago, that it would become a global hub for commerce, finance, tourism, and real estate, and then proceeded to build, attract, and market itself with an energy and ambition that has produced results no one entirely predicted. The city's wealth is no longer primarily oil-based. Dubai's emirate has relatively modest petroleum reserves compared to Abu Dhabi and has deliberately diversified into trade, logistics, financial services, real estate, and tourism to a degree that makes it functionally distinct from other Gulf cities. The Dubai International Financial Center operates under its own legal framework based on English common law, making it the preferred base for international financial institutions operating in the Middle East. The city's real estate market attracts global capital with a combination of no income tax, no capital gains tax, and a luxury property inventory that ranges from Palm Jumeirah villas to downtown penthouses overlooking the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building on Earth. San Francisco Bay Area. USA, the San Francisco Bay Area, encompassing San Francisco, San Jose, and the communities of Silicon Valley between them, has generated more new wealth in the past 40 years than any comparable geographic area in human history. The concentration of technology companies headquartered within commuting distance of each other, from Apple and Google and Meta to Oracle, Salesforce, and hundreds of others, represents an accumulation of market capitalization that is simply without precedent. The region also contains the highest concentration of venture capital in the world, the funding infrastructure that has seeded and grown this ecosystem across multiple generations of technology cycles. The consequence of this wealth concentration is the most extreme real estate market in the United States, with median home prices in San Francisco and its surrounding communities that place home ownership beyond the reach of households with incomes that would be considered affluent almost anywhere else in the country. The Bay Area's wealth is real, transformative, and extraordinarily unequally distributed, a combination that has made it simultaneously the most innovative and one of the most economically divided urban areas in the developed world. Seoul, South Korea. Seoul is the city that the Korean economic miracle built, a metropolis that rose from the devastation of the Korean War to become one of the world's most significant centers of manufacturing, technology, and cultural production within a single generation. The Chaebols, South Korea's enormous family-controlled industrial conglomerates, are centered here. Samsung, Hyundai, LG, SK Group, and Lotte among them. Corporations whose combined revenues represent a significant fraction of South Korea's entire GDP. Samsung alone, headquartered in the Gangnam district that became globally famous for rather different reasons in 2012, is a company of such scale and diversification that it touches almost every aspect of economic life in Korea, while also being one of the world's most important producers of semiconductors, smartphones, and display technology. Seoul's wealth is expressed in its extraordinary retail districts, its restaurant culture, its beauty and fashion industries, and in the Gangnam district itself, whose apartment prices reflect the concentration of corporate and professional wealth in one of Asia's most dynamic economies. Toronto, Canada. Toronto is Canada's financial capital and one of North America's most important banking centers, home to the headquarters of all 5 of Canada's major banks and a financial services sector that manages assets on a scale disproportionate to Canada's population. The city's economy is diversified across finance, technology, film and television production, life sciences, and a real estate market that has been one of the most actively appreciated in the developed world over the past 2 decades. Toronto's wealth is partly a product of Canada's resource economy, whose profits flow through the financial system headquartered here, and partly a product of immigration-driven population growth that has sustained demand for housing, services, and economic activity across multiple sectors. The technology sector, centered on the Mars Discovery District and the broader innovation corridor along University Avenue, has grown significantly and attracted major investment from global technology companies establishing Canadian headquarters in the city. Zurich, Switzerland. Zurich is the banking capital of the world in the most literal sense. The city manages more offshore wealth than any other financial center on Earth, its banks and asset managers overseeing trillions of dollars belonging to clients in every country. Swiss banking secrecy, which has been modified under international pressure in recent decades, but not eliminated, made Zurich the preferred repository for the wealth of the world's rich and powerful for over a century. UBS and Credit Suisse, the 2 Swiss banking giants that merged under crisis conditions in 2023, were both headquartered here. The Swiss National Bank, one of the world's most significant central banks, operates from the city. The commodity trading industry, less visible but enormously significant, is concentrated in the broader Swiss financial ecosystem. Zurich's per capita wealth is among the highest of any city in the world, a fact visible in the extraordinary quality of life the city provides. The lake, the mountains, the public transport, the restaurants, the cultural institutions, all maintained at a standard that reflects what happens when concentrated financial wealth is combined with competent governance and a tradition of civic investment. Frankfurt, Germany. Frankfurt is Europe's financial capital in the post-Brexit era, its importance elevated by the departure of British financial institutions from the EU single market and the consequent relocation of banking licenses, clearing operations, and regulatory functions to the continent. The European Central Bank, which sets monetary policy for the 19 countries of the Eurozone, is headquartered in Frankfurt's dramatic glass tower on the eastern bank of the Main River. Deutsche Bank, Germany's largest financial institution, is based here. The Frankfurt Stock Exchange, operated by Deutsche Börse, is one of the most important in Europe. The city also hosts one of the world's busiest airports, a logistics hub that reinforces its role as the entry point for capital and commerce into the European heartland. Frankfurt is not a glamorous city in the way that Paris or London are glamorous, but the towers of its Bankenviertel district, rising above a relatively modest city centre, are an accurate visual representation of its actual economic function. Concentrated, purposeful, and enormously powerful. Amsterdam, Netherlands. Amsterdam's wealth has its roots in the 17th century, when the Dutch Republic and its capital city created the modern financial system, the first stock exchange, the first central bank, the first multinational corporation, the first system of tradable shares. The Amsterdam Stock Exchange, founded in 1602 to trade shares in the Dutch East India Company, is the oldest in the world. That heritage is not merely historical. The Netherlands remains one of the world's most significant financial centers, home to Shell, Philips, ASML, the most important semiconductor equipment company on Earth, ING, and Heineken, among many others. Amsterdam is also the European headquarters for hundreds of international companies, drawn by its favorable tax environment, its multilingual workforce, its excellent infrastructure, and its quality of life. The city's real estate market has become one of Europe's most expensive, a reflection of demand that consistently outstrips the supply available in one of Europe's most physically constrained urban environments. Sydney, Australia. Sydney is the financial capital of Australia and one of the most significant financial centres in the Asia-Pacific region, home to the Australian Securities Exchange and the headquarters of the country's major banks, including Commonwealth Bank, Westpac, and Macquarie Group. The city's wealth is anchored in Australia's extraordinary natural resource endowment, the profits of which flow through the financial system headquartered in Sydney. But it extends well beyond the resource sector into financial services, professional services, technology, and the property market that has made Sydney one of the most expensive cities in the world for residential real estate. The harbour, the beaches, and the outdoor lifestyle that define Sydney's global image are, in a sense, the city's ultimate luxury product, the thing its wealth has purchased and maintained in a form that makes it genuinely one of the most livable, wealthy cities on Earth, provided you can afford to participate in it at the level the price of entry requires. Mumbai, India. Mumbai is the financial capital of India and the engine of the world's most populous country's economic ambitions. The Bombay Stock Exchange, Asia's oldest, and the National Stock Exchange, one of the largest in the world by transaction volume, are both headquartered here. The Reserve Bank of India, the country's central bank, operates from the city. The headquarters of India's largest corporations, including Reliance Industries, Tata Group, and a significant portion of the country's banking sector, are located in a city that generates a disproportionate fraction of India's tax revenue, its foreign exchange earnings, and its corporate profits. Mumbai is also Bollywood, the world's most prolific film industry by output, and the combination of financial services, entertainment, and trade functions makes it a city of extraordinary economic complexity and ambition. The contrast between the extreme wealth concentrated in neighborhoods like Malabar Hill and Bandra and the poverty visible in Dharavi, one of the largest urban slums in the world, makes Mumbai simultaneously one of the most economically powerful and most economically unequal cities on Earth. Shenzhen, China. Shenzhen is the city that China built to teach itself capitalism, and the lesson took hold with extraordinary speed. Designated as China's first special economic zone in 1980, when it was a collection of fishing villages across the border from Hong Kong, Shenzhen was explicitly designed as an experiment in market economics within the socialist state, a laboratory where foreign investment, private enterprise, and market pricing could be tested in controlled conditions. The experiment produced one of the fastest episodes of urban and economic growth in history, a city of over 12 million people and a GDP comparable to a mid-sized European country built within a single generation. Shenzhen is now China's technology capital, home to Huawei, Tencent, DJ1, and a dense ecosystem of hardware manufacturing, electronics, and innovation that has made it the world's most important center for consumer electronics production and increasingly for technology development. The Shenzhen Stock Exchange is one of Asia's largest. Geneva, Switzerland. Geneva is a small city with an outsized global footprint. It is the headquarters of more international organizations than any other city on Earth, including the United Nations European headquarters, the World Health Organization, the World Trade Organization, the International Red Cross, and dozens of others. A concentration of international institutional presence that gives it a diplomatic and economic weight entirely disproportionate to its population of around 200,000. It is also a private banking center of the first rank, managing wealth for clients from across the globe in institutions that combine discretion, stability, and financial expertise in proportions that the wealthy of every generation have found reassuring. The luxury watch industry, centered in Geneva and the surrounding Swiss cantons, is a significant economic sector in its own right, producing objects that function simultaneously as precision instruments and stores of value. Lake Geneva, the Alps visible from the city center, and a quality of life that consistently ranks among the highest in the world, make it a city where the expression of wealth takes the form of refinement rather than extravagance. Los Angeles County Wealth Suburbs, Beverly Hills, USA. Beverly Hills deserves its own entry because it functions as a distinct economic entity within the broader Los Angeles metropolitan area, a municipality of around 35,000 permanent residents that generates and concentrates wealth at a per capita level that places it in a category of its own. The commercial stretch of Wilshire Boulevard, known as the Platinum Triangle, and the retail corridor of Rodeo Drive together constitute one of the most valuable pieces of commercial real estate on Earth. Housing the flagship stores of virtually every significant luxury brand in the world, the residential streets north of Sunset Boulevard contain a concentration of properties valued at $10 million, and above that is matched in very few places globally. Beverly Hills is the physical address of the entertainment industry's success, the place where the wealth generated by Hollywood has been converted into real estate, jewelry, automobiles, and a service economy built entirely around the maintenance of extreme affluence. Osaka, Japan. Osaka is Japan's second city and its commercial heart, a distinction it has held for centuries as the city of merchants in a culture that has always maintained an ambivalent relationship with trade. The city's GDP places it among the top 20 city economies in the world, supported by a corporate roster that includes Panasonic, Sharp, Daikin, and Sumitomo, among many others. Osaka's relationship with wealth is different from Tokyo's. It is more direct, more commercially frank, more willing to celebrate prosperity without the restraint that Tokyo's corporate culture sometimes imposes. The city's extraordinary food culture, its dense retail districts, and its entertainment infrastructure are the expressions of a mercantile tradition that has always understood that wealth is most meaningfully expressed in the quality of daily life, rather than in its accumulation. Universal Studios Japan, which opened in 2001 and has grown into one of the most visited theme parks in Asia, represents a more recent addition to the city's economic portfolio. Doha, Qatar's sovereign wealth fund, the Qatar Investment Authority, manages assets estimated at over $450 billion, making it one of the largest sovereign wealth funds on Earth relative to the size of the country that controls it. That wealth flows through and is partly administered from Doha, a city that has used its nation's extraordinary petroleum and natural gas reserves to build infrastructure, institutions, and a global profile that its modest population of around 3 million would not otherwise support. Qatar has the highest GDP per capita of any country in the world when measured at market exchange rates in certain years, a number that reflects both the extraordinary value of its hydrocarbon reserves and the relatively small population among which that wealth is distributed. The Lusail City development north of the center, the Pearl Qatar Artificial Island, the Qatar Financial Center, and the extraordinary museum infrastructure, including the Museum of Islamic Art and the National Museum of Qatar, represent the physical expression of oil wealth applied to city building with unusual ambition and cultural seriousness. Abu Dhabi, UAE. Abu Dhabi controls approximately 90% of the UAE's oil reserves and manages them through the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, one of the largest oil producers in the world. The Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, the Emirates' sovereign wealth fund, is estimated to manage between $800 billion and $1 trillion in assets, making it one of the 2 or 3 largest sovereign wealth funds on Earth. This wealth is administered from a city of just over 1 million people, a ratio of managed wealth to population that is essentially without parallel in the world. The Emirate has deployed this wealth with increasing cultural ambition. The Louvre Abu Dhabi, the Guggenheim Abu Dhabi, currently under development, the Yas Island Entertainment Complex, and the Formula One circuit that hosts the season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix all represent a conscious effort to convert hydrocarbon wealth into cultural infrastructure and global profile. The financial district of Al Maria Island houses the Abu Dhabi Global Market, an international financial center designed to attract the wealth management and banking functions that the Emirates' extraordinary asset base makes it natural to develop. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Riyadh sits atop the world's second-largest proven oil reserves and administers them through Saudi Aramco, the most profitable company in the history of capitalism. The Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund, the Public Investment Fund, has grown under Vision 2030 to become one of the largest in the world, with assets exceeding $700 billion and an investment mandate that spans technology, entertainment, sports, real estate, and infrastructure across the globe. Riyadh is in the midst of the most ambitious city transformation project on Earth, the development of Neom, a futuristic city in the desert, the entertainment city of Qiddiya, the Red Sea Tourism Project, and the transformation of Riyadh itself through the King Abdullah Financial District and a series of mega projects designed to make the capital a global city in the fullest sense. The concentration of royal family wealth, corporate wealth from Aramco and the petrochemical sector, and the expanding professional class created by Vision 2030's diversification agenda is making Riyadh's wealth distribution more complex and more visible than at any previous point in the city's history. Luxembourg City, Luxembourg. Luxembourg is the wealthiest country in the world by GDP per capita, and its capital city is the physical and institutional expression of that distinction. The Grand Duchy has positioned itself as one of Europe's premier financial centers, home to the investment fund industry that manages trillions of euros on behalf of investors across the continent and beyond. The European headquarters of dozens of major banks and financial institutions, and a steel industry legacy that, while diminished, laid the economic foundations on which the financial sector was built. The European Court of Justice and several other EU institutions are headquartered in Luxembourg City, adding an institutional dimension to its economic profile. The city is small, around 130,000 people, extraordinarily well maintained, and set in a landscape of dramatic gorges and medieval fortifications that gives it a physical character entirely at odds with its outsized financial significance. It is, in essence, the ultimate expression of what a small, strategically positioned, well-governed place can achieve when it decides to make itself indispensable to the movement of capital. 28 cities, 28 concentrations of wealth so extraordinary that they function less like places and more like forces, pulling capital, talent, and ambition toward them with a gravity that reshapes the world around them. Some built their wealth from the ground up, from oil and minerals and agricultural surplus. Some invented new industries and then dominated them globally. Some positioned themselves at the intersection of trade routes and let the world's commerce flow through their hands. Some created the rules of the financial system and then charged the world for the privilege of using them. What they share is not merely money, but the structures, the institutions, and the accumulated advantages that ensure the money keeps coming. Wealth, it turns out, is less a destination than a habit. And these cities have had the habit longer than almost anywhere else on Earth.